All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it. Rick and Morty, in my opinion, is satanic propaganda and is actively trying to rob you of your soul and send you to hell. This is all from the perspective of a former fan, okay? I used to love this show. I was a big fan of Rick and Morty. I went to a trivia night trying to because I was like, man, I know Rick and Morty so well. I laughed at all the jokes. I didn't think there was any problem with it, okay? But after being saved, I started watching. It was the fifth season was just the one that showed, and I was watching the last few episodes of the season finale, and it just certain things started sticking out to me. So I went back and started rewatching it, and I definitely view the show a lot differently now. The first episode of the pilot, I like to call it the Genesis pilot, like the Genesis episode.
I'm gonna make it like a new Adam and Eve, and you're gonna be Adam, and Jessica's gonna be Eve.
In this episode, Morty represents Adam, Jessica represents Eve, and Rick represents Satan.
Oh my god, my parents are so loud I want to die.
There is no God, Summer. Gotta rip that band-aid off now. You'll thank me later.
Rick just flat out says, oh, Summer, there is no God. Okay, I'll rip that band-aid off now. So it's not just a joke, okay? What the show is doing is it's setting up the smartest man in the universe says there is no God, so you should listen to him if you want to be smart. Right after Rick says there is no God, the school teacher is telling the students that without math, none of us would be here.
Gotta get settled. Get away from the windows. Now look, we're gonna be dealing with some real serious stuff today. You might have heard of it. It's called math. And without it, none of us would even exist. So let's jump right in.
Analogy time. Let's say a carpenter comes and builds you a big, beautiful house, right? A mansion. And he does it for free. He does it for free and gives it to you. And then you walk right past the carpenter, grab the hammer and say, thank you, hammer. And then take the hammer and start just smashing away on the house yourself, right? So, with that analogy, don't be surprised if the next house the carpenter doesn't want to let you in. Just had to let my cat out. All right, so Rick takes Morty on another adventure, right? Rick starts going on about the mega tree.
It's Dimension 35C, and it's got the perfect climate conditions for a special type of tree, Morty, called a mega tree. And there's fruit in those trees, and there's seeds in those fruits. I'm talking about mega seeds. They're incredibly powerful, and I need them to help me with my research more.
The mega tree represents the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Rick gives Morty some shoes that let him walk on every surface, but neglects to tell him to turn them on. So he walks off the cliff and breaks his legs. That was all on purpose. This whole thing was on purpose. Rick goes into a portal, comes back.
The dimension I visited was so advanced. They had also halted the aging process, and everyone there was young, Morty, and they had been forever. I was the only old person there, Morty. It was like I was some sort of, celebrity walking around. I was fascinating to them.
And the place he goes to, the people never die. They never grow old. They don't get sick, okay? He's describing the Garden of Eden, right? So in the show, whenever something is of God, they say it's of science, right? That's the shift. They always reattribute God while denying God and giving it to science, okay? So that's what they did earlier with the math, and now that's what they're doing with the Garden of Eden. The fruit of the mega tree is the fruit from the Garden of Eden.
I'm gonna need you to take these seeds into the bathroom, and I'm gonna need you to put them way up inside your butthole, Morty.
In my butt?
Put them way up inside there, as far as they can fit.
Oh, jeez, Rick. I really don't want to have to do that.
He makes Morty, he goes into, he's quite obsessed with Morty's supple bottom, let's just say.
Morty, you're young. You've got your whole life ahead of you. And your anal cavity is still taut yet malleable. You gotta do it for Grandpa, Morty. You gotta put these seeds inside your butt.
In my butt?
Come on, Morty. Please, Morty. You have to do it, Morty.
Morty does it. Morty puts the seeds inside his body. And then they go to the airport. And they wind up having to run from security. And there's a scene. I'll show you here. Morty coughed out a green blob, and it grew old and died. Genesis chapter 3, verse 4. And the serpent said to the woman, for you shall not surely die. So he was telling her, Don't think about what God said. Don't think about the fact that he said you'll die if you eat this fruit. Once Morty displays the knowledge that he gained from the seed, from the fruit of the tree.
Morty, tell your parents the square root of pi.
Oh, come on, Rick. You know I
The
can't.
square root of pi, Morty. Go.
1.77245,385. Whoa.
What the hell?
Holy crap, he's right.
He's too smart for school. He needs to keep hanging out and helping me.
Jerry, I don't want whatever's happening here to stop.
I understand. Maybe we overreacted.
It gives him right to stay. It was part of his plan the whole time, so he doesn't get kicked out. Just like how Satan's plan was to get Adam and Eve to eat of the apple. Now that they have the knowledge of sin, it is inevitable that they're going to sin.
Rick and Morty forever and forever 100 years. Rick and Morty some things. Me and Rick and Morty and running around and Rick and Morty time. All day long forever. Free.com. www.100timesrickandmorty.com.
It's the devil saying, forever and ever, I got you. All your descendants are mine, and then once you die, I got your soul, okay? And then, ominously, the garage door closes, and that's the end of the first episode. I don't have a lot to say about episodes 2, 3, or 4, except for the one thing I do want to mention is the pleasure pit, right? It's all about lust, and everybody's wearing masks, right? They're all wearing, like, these kind of masks.
Oh, man, Rick, this is pretty weird.
Don't judge, Morty.
Okay, all right.
You know, a lot of masks do tend to be part of satanic rituals, right? And for maybe humiliation rituals. Moving on to episode 5.
I can't do it, Rick. They're my parents and sister.
Morty, I already told you, it's not your family. They're clones from an alternate reality possessed by demonic alien spirits from another dimension's future.
So demonically possessed clones of his family, okay? So, you know, it's a good thing the government can't clone anyone, right? It's a good thing that they're totally trustworthy and haven't been cloning people.
At last, 2 heroes! You must help us. This village is terribly poor, yet the giant that lives in the clouds above has untold treasures.
You could be forgiven for thinking that this is just a simple Jack and the Beanstalk parody. The show takes David versus Goliath and turns it from a battle into a court case, right? So after the giant falls, hits his head.
I smell the blood of...
Holy crap!
Boy. He looks pretty bad down there, Morty. Looks like he's bleeding out.
They get arrested, sent to court, right? And they're about to be found guilty until Rick says,
You know, what do you think's gonna happen? Some magical angel's gonna show up and then...
Fum. I smell the violation of civil liberty.
So Rick mentions an angel. This is going to come into play later. So then the lawyer comes in, gets him off scot-free, and then they have to descend the court staircase.
But here we are, you know, walking down the courthouse steps.
Oh, boy.
It is a symbolic representation of Jacob's ladder, okay? That's why Rick mentioned an angel earlier, because in Jacob's ladder, angels go up and down the staircase. So then they go ahead and they descend Jacob's ladder. And halfway down the ladder, they come to a tavern.
All right, okay, you know, if this was a story, this part wouldn't be included, stupid. Hey, Rick, what do you know? Look down there. Looks like some kind of tavern or something built right into the side of the step.
Right? And inside the tavern, Morty essentially gets sexually assaulted by a jelly bean.
Everything's going fine. I just gotta relax and go with the flow.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
No, stay. Go with the flow.
So think about this, right? So think about the level of they parallel and mock David versus Goliath. They make it so Goliath just falls and hits his head. They make it so David's the bad guy in the scenario, and then, or at least, you know, not slaying an evil giant. He's just a regular giant that he went there to steal from. And then on their way down Jacob's ladder, the staircase to heaven, a 14-year-old boy almost gets forced upon by a jelly bean, okay? And then later on in the show, you find out that this jelly bean was the king of the land, right? So at the post-credit scene, they find child pictures in a box,
We found it inside a lockbox, inside King Jellybean's closet. We have to tell the people.
Wait. Destroy it. Our people will get more from the idea he represented than from the jellybean he actually was.
You know, Jeffrey Epstein, you know what I mean? So it's not done in a good-hearted way at all. This is rubbing it in our faces that this is the way the world is that our leaders are all into what's in the shoebox, and there's a big cover-up, and they're putting it in the show to rub it in our face and mock us. Okay, this whole show is about mocking God and mocking the audience too, mocking you, saying you're stupid for laughing at it. Okay, so that's all I have to really say about episode 5. Moving on to episode 6, Rick Potion number 9, or as I like to call it, Rick Potion number 19. It's also the Noah's Ark episodes. Rick goes on a little rant about how what people call love is just a chemical reaction compelling animals to breed.
Like that. Listen, Morty, I hate to break it to you, but what people call love is just a chemical reaction that compels animals to breed. It hits hard, Morty, then it slowly fades, leaving you stranded in a failing marriage. I did it. Your parents are gonna do it. Break the cycle, Morty. Rise above. Focus on science.
God is love, right? Like, God is where love comes from. Without God, there is no love, right? So this is the show's way of denying, once again, the existence of God by denying the existence of love. Yeah, and then uses that as another excuse to crap on the institution of marriage, one of God's creations. Morty comes to Rick and asks him to make him a love potion to get on Jessica and make her fall in love with Morty.
Hey, listen, Rick. You know how you said that, love is a chemical and all that stuff from earlier? Well, I was thinking, could you make some sort of chemical thing happen inside of Jessica's mind? So where she falls in love with me and all that sort of thing? Like maybe make some sort of love potion or something?
Yeah, Rick makes it for him, sends him off to the flu season dance, and there he accidentally infects Jessica.
Hey there, Jessica. Whoa, oh, whoopsie.
Oh my god. Morty, you look really nice tonight.
Wow, thanks.
I love you, Morty.
And then because she has the flu, it bonds together, it like splices together, and then creates a contagious version of the love potion.
He is more man than you will ever be. That's you.
It's about flu awareness. You gotta be aware of the flu and the airness. Yo, I'm a flu-hating rapper.
Okay, so Rick Potion number 19 parallels the Noah's Ark story, okay? So in the Noah Ark story in the Bible, angels come down from heaven and take wives upon themselves, and whichever woman they chose. So kind of like how Morty just wanted to take Jessica, he wanted a love potion to make her fall in love with him. This is kind of how the angels, it didn't, in the Bible it doesn't say the angels came down and courted the women and asked for them to marry them. It says they took them for wives. Yeah, so when the Watchers came down, mated with the mortal women, their offspring were genetically altered. They were half angel, half human. That parallels the giants, the Nephilim. Okay, apparently it's Nephilim. So in the show, Morty's family is the only family that is not altered. Their genes are not altered.
Gary, thank God.
God? God's turning people into insect monsters, Beth. I'm the one beating them to death. Thank me.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you.
So in the show, Rick is the one turning the people into insect monsters. So that's the show's way of telling you in this episode, Rick is supposed to represent God, okay? What's the solution in the show? Clean slate, right? So the clean slate version of the show is they just go to an alternate reality. But biblically, it's the flood, right? It's the great flood. They all get, Noah and his family all gets on the boat. They bring some animals along, and then flood. Everybody gets wiped out. Oh man, like, could you imagine if that happened? If like a rogue scientist or scientists created a worldwide pandemic, and then the same scientist was responsible for creating the cure, and then that cure altered your DNA and made everything worse, and then they come out with another cure, and that one alters your DNA even more and made everything even worse. Could you imagine? That would be so crazy. Oh, jeez. It's a good thing this is just a TV show, right, guys? Let's move on to the Needful Things episode. If you've seen the show, this one's probably the first one that popped into your mind of like, okay, this one literally has the devil in the episode. So obviously I'm going to have a lot to say about this one. This episode starts off with Rick sitting at the table, and he builds a little robot to pass the butter. And the robot says, "What is my purpose?" And he says, "You pass the butter."
What is my purpose?
Pass the butter. Thank you.
What is my purpose?
You pass butter.
Oh my god.
Yeah, welcome to the club.
Reflects Lucifer, the devil, Satan's, his feelings about serving God's purposes, for serving his role. Is he wasn't satisfied with his purpose, right? Just like how the robot wasn't satisfied with his purpose. In this episode, Rick is the devil playing God again, right? So in the actual devil in the episode, imagine that as like, I don't know, a cartoony caricature version of the devil that the devil wants you to think the devil is like, okay?
So what are you, like the devil?
What? Sorry? I'm the devil, biatch! What? I mean, seriously. I may be the devil, but your grandpa is the devil.
This is the first time we want to talk about the opening cutscene, okay? And I waited until this episode for a reason, and you'll see why in a minute. A flying eyeball, right? Shooting laser beams, shoots it at the audience's eyes. You got a left hand, like a cut off zombie left hand, and then 3 + 3 = 6, okay? Now, these things are not random, okay? This is very, very intentional. So the eyeball is the all-seeing eye. If the Illuminati, the Freemasons, you know, it's on the $1 bill, it's everywhere, right? The all-seeing eye is satanic, right? You got the left hand. So the right hand is referred to many times in the Bible as the righteous, right? So it's used to symbolize righteousness is the right hand, and the left hand represents evil. And then 3 + 3 = 6. Get rid of the plus and the equal sign, right? So what are you left with? You got 33. There's 33 degrees of Freemasonry, right? And then 6. What do you got right beside the 6? A 3. 3 sixes. 666, okay? All these three things matter, okay? And it's the first thing they show you in every single episode, and there's a reason for it. So the all-seeing eye zaps you with the laser. The opening song is very trancey. It's designed that way to put the viewer into a trance-like state. Okay, so at the end of the opening cutscene, you see a Cthulhu monster coming at the screen, and it swallows the audience, right? It envelops the audience. This represents the demons feeding on you, right? So I'm not going to go into it in this episode. I'll make a future episode about it. But before I got saved, I was communicating with what I thought to be aliens, right? Turns out they weren't aliens, they were demons. And there were certain demons that looked like this. They had the gross teeth, they're purple, they have like a purple aura about them. And they're all around you, right? They're all over the place. They're really ugly, they're really gross. And it's an unfortunate reality, all right? It's an unfortunate reality of the world we live in, that there are demons. And there's a spiritual war going on all around us. And Our actions, every word we say, every decision we make, even our thoughts, have an impact on the spiritual world, and the spiritual world impacts us. So if you have, let's say, a demon infesting you, it can affect your behavior. It can affect the way you think. It can affect the way you talk. So yeah, and they come in different shapes and sizes. They all kind of just float around like they're swimming in the ocean, right? And some are big. Some are so big that they fill up the entire sky, right? So the Cthulhu mythos is based on a reality, though. It's based on truth, okay? I'm not saying that it's 100% all accurate, but it is based on a kernel of truth, okay? Okay, so let's go to Rick getting to the needful things knick-knack shop, right? The devil's little store there. And first thing you're going to notice is there's a hand on the floor with an eyeball in it, okay? So what they're telling you there is that they're full aware of like the eyeball and the hand. They're telling you that that is satanic. They put that in there on purpose, okay? Because they love to brag, right? These people, they love to show off. They love to put things right in your face because they think you're too stupid to figure it out, okay?
Let me ask you a question real quick. Does evil exist? And if so, can one detect and measure it? Rhetorical question, Morty. The answer's yes, you just have to be a genius.
So the show acknowledges evil exists. The devil is a main character, but God doesn't exist, and love isn't real, it's just a chemical reaction, okay? How does that make any sense? How do you have the yin without the yang? They're glorifying and edifying the devil, even though like they kind of make it like they pretend like they don't like it, but they like it,
Have you acquired creepy specific old stuff from a mysterious antique or thrift store that gives you powers but fucks with you in unforeseeable ways? Bring it to Curse Purge Plus. I use science to uncurse the items for cash, and you get to keep the powers.
Basically, Rick is undoing the devil's curses, right? He's undoing the devil's work. So once again, they're attributing God's works, what God does, to science, right? Jesus undoes the devil's work. Jesus casts out demons. Jesus can save. Jesus, right? Not science. This is a demonic show because they're trying to make you look everywhere except for Jesus. Trust in yourself. Trust in science. And like the devil doesn't need you to worship him. Not yet. Not until rapture, okay? So pre-rapture, all the devil needs to do is make sure you don't get saved. You don't go to Jesus. You don't ask for redemption. You don't repent, right? That's the whole point of the show. Don't repent. Be comfortable with your sin. Be comfortable with blasphemy. Like, isn't the Bible silly? Isn't God silly? That's the point of the show. That's what the whole point of the show is. The opening scene puts you into a trance, so you don't really question what you're seeing. You just kind of go, Trust me, I was there. I used to like the show. This is one of my favorite shows, believe it or not, okay? So they work in like legitimate jokes mixed with blasphemous jokes, and they kind of work back and forth. So even if you're not really like, don't have any disdain for God, you wind up laughing at these jokes anyways because you're just in this trance, right? You're along for the ride, right? And then they opened you up to demonic attacks. So while you're sitting there laughing at God, there's demons feeding on your soul, okay? This stuff's real, okay? This isn't a joke. This is all real stuff. Summer goes on to talk about how she likes working for the devil, okay? Fast food places give you diabetes. Clothing stores all have sweatshops or shoes, that's all made with sweatshop.
Well, yeah, fast food gives people diabetes and clothing stores have sweatshops. Is there a company hiring teenagers that isn't evil?
Yes, okay. Yeah, they're all satanic, right? And okay, I know what you're saying now. You're going, oh, good Templar, you just think everything is satanic. Now you're getting it. Yeah, pretty much. Like the world, we're a fallen world. It even says in the Bible, the Satan is the ruler of this world, okay? And he has a short period of time. He has a short period of time to run amok, to have his reign, and then it comes to an end, okay? Like he's going to lose bad, okay? He's going to lose real bad in the end. So you really want to pick the winning side here, people. You want to get on the Jesus side, because if you ain't with Jesus, you're with the devil. You might not know it. You might just think you like science, and I'm a man of reason. I'm too smart. I'm too smart to fall for that biblically book, right? There, I've heard it a million times. I used to think that way, okay? I used to think I was just, too rational. I'm too rational. I live in the real world. Yeah, no, that's exactly what the devil wants you to think, okay? You wake up and realize this isn't a game, okay? Eternity's a long time. Eternity's a long time. You don't want to be stuck with them. You might not be as bad as them. You might say to yourself, oh, I live a good life. I don't cheat on my wife. I pay my taxes. I can get into heaven. That's not what the Bible says, people, okay? You got to come to Jesus. Jesus, because everybody sinned, okay? And you need to not sin at all. If you were going to get into heaven all natural styles with no Jesus, you would have literally had to live your entire life sin-free, okay? How many of you can say that? None, okay? I'm telling you right now, none. Jesus was the only one that did that. That's why you have to go to Jesus, is you're basically, you can't get in without Jesus, right? Jesus is the man. He's the one that gets you into heaven, and he vouches for you. He says, they acknowledge me, they accept me, they love me, and they're with me, okay? You can't get into heaven without Jesus, all right? So that's why this show ridicules Jesus constantly. That's why it ridicules the Bible constantly. That's why it ridicules God constantly. Is it's trying to make you think it's all silly. Time is running out, people, right? You don't want to miss rapture. Come on. And then even at the end of the show, they basically just juice up on steroids and kick the shit out of the devil.
Rick? Summer? How do you like that? How do you like that?
Why? Because sometimes what you really need is for someone else to pay a horrible price.
I mean, seriously. I may be the devil, but your grandpa is the devil.
And he's all like, oh, why? So, once again, all of this is to make you just, not take it seriously. Denies God, but then when they show the devil, they misrepresent the devil to be what the devil wants you to think he is. He wants you to think he's a joke until rapture, and then you're going to have to worship his ass. So be ready, okay? All right, so that concludes my Needful Things episode. That leaves one more episode I want to talk about, okay? And this one is big, okay? So the episode 10. So this is when you first get introduced to Evil Morty. So then they come and they take the main Rick to the Council of Ricks.
Jeez, Rick, what is this place?
The Citadel of Ricks. It's the secret headquarters for the Council of Ricks.
Council of Ricks?
Okay, so in this episode, the Council of Rick is representing the Holy Trinity. Okay, so they're all wearing pins on their jackets, right? With an R in the middle and 3 points, right? That's the Holy Trinity. The main Rick and main Morty are fleeing. They go to a restaurant, right? And when they're there, the other Ricks show up and they take a red marker and they draw red X's on their foreheads.
Excuse me, we've tracked a pair of dangerous criminals to this exact location. They look exactly like us, so in order to avoid confusion, I'm gonna mark us each with a red X right now. That way, if someone has a gun and we both tell you to shoot the other one because they're the evil one, you'll know who's lying.
As they're fleeing, the waiter comes out and says, hey, you didn't pay your bill. And he points to his head and says, red X, red X.
Hey, you didn't pay your bill!
The red X! Red X! Hey, it's a good thing that space outlet had...
Right? What does that represent? Represents the mark of the beast. Revelations chapter 13, verse 16. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on their right hand or their forehead. And no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Okay, so here's the wisdom. Let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. How is this significant? So as soon as he says red X, smash cut to a planet with a red X around it. Okay, so that's symbolizing that's where the beast is. Okay, that's the mark of the beast. That's the planet of the beast. All right, and then also it's the people with the mark of the beast are chasing those without the mark of the beast. Okay, so they're in a restaurant, and then the waiter comes out. He's like, "Hey, you didn't pay your bill," and he says, "Red X, red X." That's how he pays the bill, with the mark of the beast. Okay, so they go to the planet, with the red X planet, and they go to a dome, like a big dome of Morty's being tortured, right? All the Mortys, if you notice, they're all being crucified, right? They're all being crucified. And how does that tie in? Because this is essentially the crucifixion parallel in the Bible. Main Rick gets captured and like Morty gets separated. The main Morty gets taken to the holding area, right, by the evil Morty.
In here.
Right, the Judas Morty, if you will, and he throws him into the room, into hell, right? So they're all there whimpering and scared, and they give him a little booklet for the good Morty, the one true Morty. Okay, that's a Jesus reference. And once again, Morty treats it with disdain. He opens it up and he goes, "Ugh," and throws it over his shoulder.
There is no escape, my son. We will find our peace in the next world. So what? You're just gonna give up? We're giving in to the power of the one true Morty. One day he will return. Praise the one true Morty. Ugh.
Signaling to the audience, hey, have this attitude towards aversion to sin. Have this attitude towards Jesus, okay? Roll your eyes, scoff, throw it away. Right? And then his message is, oh, let's not wait for a savior. Let's just do it ourselves.
We're Mortys. We're not defined by our relationships to Rick. Our destiny is our own. This sounds like something the one true Morty might say.
And then they break out.
He is the one true Morty. The one true Morty.
Hey, keep it down.
And it's a symbolic representation of Christ's victory on the cross, because Christ dies and then comes back, right? Morty gets thrown into this room and then they come out and everybody gets freed. It's a salvation of our soul. Like all those people being crucified, all the Mortys being crucified, you could also say that's hell, right? All these people are being tortured for all eternity. And because of Jesus' sacrifice on the cross, we don't have to be tortured for all eternity. You can come to Jesus, right? Yeah, and then they reveal how it was the Morty with the eye patch was the mastermind behind it.
My God, I've seen this technology before. This Rick was being controlled remotely, puppeteered by somebody else. This is the receiver. Yeah, but where's the transmitter?
Right, he's the Judas, he's the Antichrist. Okay, the mark of the beast is the mark of the Antichrist, right? So it's all pointing to the evil Morty, right? So in this one, he's kind of the Judas character, but you'll see later on in a much later episode, he plays more of the modern day Antichrist, right? Want to see more, right? I'm going to do few more episodes after this to cover the rest. There's a lot more to talk about, people. I know it seems like I've already talked about a lot, but we just scratched the surface here, okay? Okay, there's people in hell right now who laughed at this show, who let this show trick them into thinking that I don't need Jesus. And they when you're in hell, like, you have perfect clarity. You remember everything better than you do now. You remember all the times that you laughed at Jesus. You remember all the times that people tried to tell you, hey, Jesus saves. Jesus is the way. And you'll remember, like, there's people in hell right now who remember this show, and they remember how it deceived them, and they let it trick them into mocking Christ and mocking God and not coming to Christ to be saved. And you're there for all eternity, people. That's a long time. Eternity is a long time. This life is a little blip over like that. Yeah, so ended on like a little bit of a higher note. I actually really enjoy doing this. This is This is fun for me. But yeah, I'll work on the next one right away. I get the next episode out as fast as I can. I'm new to the whole net editing thing. I'm learning as I go. And but yeah, I would any like or share, any comment, greatly appreciated. Yeah, until next time. God bless.